Here's your wrestling news for May 19th, 2021. And your headlines for today include The Miz injured, possibly out of action for months. Vince McMahon has paused the push of yet another WWE Raw superstar. Ricochet in trouble, deletes tweet about female star after fan backlash. Impressive statistic about how much WWE has protected Bobby Lashley. Why Renee Paquette fired on Kenny Omega. Braun Strowman's WWE status a mystery after WrestleMania Backlash. Lanny Poffo reacts to controversial WWE A&E doc on Randy Savage, issues corrections. Wrestler suffering from unfortunate illness. I'm still struggling, Shinsuke Nakamura reveals his position in WWE. Charlotte Flair denies CM Punk's recent claim about Vince McMahon, and more. We're kicking off today with Raw, as The Miz was notably absent from this week's show following his zombie lumberjack match loss at WrestleMania Backlash to Damian Priest. Not long after the pay-per-view, it was reported that the A-lister may have suffered an injury, which we reported as a slight niggle, but now we have an update on his condition. According to Dave Meltzer, who spoke on Wrestling Observer Radio, Miz has an injured ACL and may be out of action for some time. If it's a full tear, then he may be out for as long as 9 months, and this is a particularly bad injury for The Miz to suffer at 40 years old. If it is less severe than a tear, then Miz will be back sooner, but it's still an injury the former WWE champion doesn't need. PW Insider is reporting that the A-lister will be undergoing medical tests later this week to assess the damage, and we'll keep viewers updated on this story as it develops. It's unclear how or when Miz suffered this injury at WrestleMania Backlash, but torn ACL or not, the A-lister was still able to continue the zombie lumberjack match that saw Damian Priest get the win. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that many superstars who were watching the match from the back could tell something was wrong, but no one guessed the situation was as severe as a torn ACL, and they gave Miz props for finishing the match. Not only did The Miz finish the match, but he also made sure the post-match segment, which saw him be devoured by zombies, happened, and this is the first major injury of The Miz's career. We'll have to see how long the A-lister is out of action, but he certainly earned some kudos from the locker room for carrying on with the pre-taped match. More Raw news, and on the May 10th episode, Humberto Carrillo suffered an injury whilst attempting a sunset flip powerbomb outside the ring, causing the match to be thrown out and Sheamus declared the winner. Post-match, reports said that Carrillo was doing okay after being examined backstage, and in a tweet, the High Flyer teased that this isn't over between himself and the United States champion. Carrillo may have spoken too soon, as he didn't appear at all on this week's Raw, and that's because Vince McMahon has reportedly pressed pause on Carrillo's push, and Sheamus is now feuding with Ricochet instead. Mike Johnson of PW Insider reported that the decision was made to focus on someone else and compared Carrillo's situation to that of Mansoor, who made his debut one week and was completely forgotten the next. With this week's Raw script undergoing several rewrites, it's possible that Carrillo was meant to appear, but with Vince McMahon's recent booking, who knows when he'll appear next. Carrillo didn't appear at WrestleMania Backlash, which was a solid show despite the zombie lumberjack match, but the event didn't light up the wrestling community with interest. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer broke down the Google search trends, showing that Backlash didn't even crack the top 20 search trends for the night, a bad thing for WWE. The number 20 trend usually does 100,000 searches, meaning WrestleMania Backlash did less than this figure, and Meltzer compared the statistic to the WrestleMania 37 Go Home Raw, which did just 140,000, and AEW Revolution, which did 210,000. WWE didn't put a ton of hype into WrestleMania Backlash, and that showed in the amount of people who were interested. And with Hell in a Cell hopefully the final pay-per-view without fans, we'll have to see how WWE gets interest up for the June event. As we've reported, Ricochet is currently enjoying a push that could ultimately see him challenge Sheamus for the United States title, but his actions outside of the ring may cost him that spot. When a WWE tweet asked fans who their favorite high flyer was, with 6 possible options, Ricochet said how no one can do what he does and how he does it. This confident response was well received, though one fan did argue that Io Shirai is also a phenomenal high flyer herself, saying she's the best at what she does. This caused a response from Ricochet that he'd later regret, as he said that Shirai's amazing in the ring, but he can do anything she does even better, adding that she can't even do half the things he can. This response didn't go down well with fans, as fans argued that Shirai is far more charismatic than the Raw superstar, and after deleting his tweet, perhaps he'll think twice the next time he throws shade at another talented high flyer. On Raw, Bobby Lashley is the unquestionable top star of WWE's Red Brand, but this week, the Almighty suffered a surprising loss to Kofi Kingston. In the first singles encounter between the two, the match was a rare loss for the CEO of the Hurt Business, as Bryan Alvarez explained on Wrestling Observer Radio. On the show, Alvarez noted that in the last 18 months, Lashley has lost just 5 times, with the most surprising L on his record coming at the hands of Ricochet. WWE has certainly been keeping Lashley strong for the past year and a half, especially now that he's WWE Champion, but that didn't stop them from giving Kofi a huge win over the Almighty this week. AEW news next, as Jon Moxley has had an incredible time since joining the company, which has included competing in some of the company's most violent matches. At Full Gear 2019, Moxley faced Kenny Omega in a lights-out match, and whilst the match went down well with fans, Moxley's wife didn't like one particular spot. Speaking to Wrestling Inc., Renee Paquette said that the moment where Omega put glass in Moxley's mouth was too much, and also didn't enjoy when he landed on thumbtacks before having alcohol poured on his back. Renee added that it was clear that the two had something to prove at Full Gear 2019, and said that their exploding barbed wire death match this year was fantastic, aside from the dud of an ending. Moxley and Omega's Lights Out match would be a precursor to their exploding barbed wire death match, and with Mox teaming with Eddie Kingston to challenge the AEW Tag Champions the Young Bucks at next week's Double or Nothing, we're wondering how violent that match will be. Back to WWE, and this week's post-Backlash edition of Raw had some notable absences, as Braun Strowman didn't appear at all during the 3-hour show. During a promo, MVP claimed that the Monster Among Men was suffering from broken ribs, but this isn't the case. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer explained that there's no actual reason for why Strowman missed Raw at this time. What we do know is that this week's Raw underwent several changes before the show, with the show's script being unfinished until 5:30 p.m. It's possible that Strowman is dealing with broken ribs, but it's just as likely that this was a line in kayfabe used to sell Bobby Lashley's powerful spear. It's entirely possible that Strowman was meant to be on the show, but plans for him were scrapped, and with the rumored plan being for Lashley and Drew McIntyre's feud to continue without Strowman, it's unclear what the future holds for him. Now, earlier this month, A&E, in association with WWE, released a documentary on Macho Man Randy Savage, which was met with harsh criticism. The overall consensus of the doc is that it was too negative on the deceased former WWE champion, with Sean Waltman saying he was highly disappointed and Eric Bischoff saying he regrets taking part in it. Now, Savage's real-life brother Lanny Poffo has weighed in, after admitting he was initially hesitant to watch the documentary following such a strong reaction. Like the others, Poffo had some harsh words, saying his brother was made out to be worse than Chris Benoit, and corrected several quote-unquote facts in the documentary, such as Bruce Pritchard falsely claiming that Lanny and Randy's mother was in Germany during the 1930s. Poffo also criticized Gorgeous George, Savage's longtime manager in WCW, claiming that she was ungrateful for the opportunities Savage gave her, and also noted that the doc didn't reference Savage's work with the Special Olympics, Make-A-Wish, or various charities. It's too late for the documentary to be changed now as the damage has been done, but hopefully WWE will keep a close eye on their work with A&E after this misleading program. Impact news next, and at Under Siege, Eddie Edwards got the win in its 6-man tag match, pinning Carl Anderson, but any plans for a big push may have been derailed thanks to a nasty illness. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that Edwards is now suffering what's believed to be appendicitis, and this is especially bad as Impact is taping 2 months' worth of TV this week. It was also noted that Impact was seemingly placing Edwards in a spot to challenge Kenny Omega down the line, possibly in July, as Moose is facing Omega in June, but this rumored appendicitis will mean he won't be competing for the next 2 months of TV. If it is appendicitis and Edwards needs surgery, then he'll be out for even longer, and we're wishing him the best at this worrying time. Over to SmackDown, and Shinsuke Nakamura's booking on WWE's main roster has left a lot to be desired, despite a rumored major push earlier this year. That push didn't pan out, and while speaking on Renee Paquette's Oral Sessions podcast, Nakamura spoke about struggling to find his moment in WWE. He explained, "I'm still struggling in wrestling. Coming to US and coming to WWE is challenging. I came to challenge myself, that's why I'm here. I'm waiting to find my timing and my moment. I don't pitch ideas to Vince a lot. We talk after the match a little or before the match if he has an idea for my promo. I need to get used to not talking to Vince." Speaking about his promos and the language barrier he faces, Nakamura admitted he still gets nervous speaking on TV, saying, "Yes, still, nowadays, they only give me a short line. For example, a famous joke, I don't know because I didn't grow up in the US." Earlier this year, Nakamura even hinted that he's not happy in WWE, refuting a fan who claimed that he was, telling them, "Who said I'm happy?" Nakamura wrote. "Don't believe anything other than what I said." On last week's SmackDown, Nakamura lost to King Corbin but stole his crown, and we'll have to see if this new budding feud with the King turns things around for the former NXT champion. And we're ending today with Charlotte Flair, who recently provided commentary on Raw, after which CM Punk was quick to take a shot at Vince McMahon. When a WWE tweet asked fans to caption a pic of the Queen commentating, Punk parodied what Vince McMahon would be saying to her, yelling not to use the word wrestling and to stop looking at the monitors. Speaking to the Hindustan Times, Charlotte was asked about Punk's tweet and denied the former champion's claims, saying, "No one is buzzing in my ear. I've known Byron Saxton and Corey Graves for a very long time. It was just great to be out there with them, feeling as confident as ever. No, Vince doesn't buzz in my ear about anything." It's far more likely that McMahon barks in the ears of full-time commentators, but refrains from doing that to superstars, meaning Charlotte was safe from a verbal lashing by the boss when she sat down to commentate. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.